Hands up if you know Lexus. Well, Toyota's luxury brand needs little introduction. But hands up if you know their most popular car of recent times. And I've been told it's this, the NX. The NX300h is the fourth offering from the company in India, and it's available in two flavors, the F Sport and the Luxury, and it promises an experience like none other. The NX takes Lexus's edgy design language and dials it up to holy cow levels. Its sleek wedge-like shape is personified by the narrow 3-pod LED headlight cluster underscored by slash-like LED DRLs. While I'm not a huge fan of that gigantic spindle grille, it sure is a head-turner. Its flared, squared-off wheel arches do add some muscle, and around the back, we especially like its sculpted wraparound taillights. The exterior differences between the F Sport and the Luxury are focused around the front grille, the front bumper, mirrors and alloy wheels. But apart from these, there's very little to tell the two trim levels apart until we get inside. Just like the exteriors, even the interiors look extremely special. And I love how everything in the cockpit is laid out sort of around the driver, almost like a sports car. It feels very driver-centric. The feel-good factor here is impressive. There's lots of premium materials used around the cabin. Leather, wood, soft touch plastics and even some aluminium trim on the F Sport. There's a large 10.3-inch center display, and no, there's no touchscreen or CarPlay or Android Auto, but it can be controlled by the touchpad on the center console, almost like a laptop's trackpad. It's a very comprehensive system that gets satellite navigation, plenty of connectivity options, and a brilliant 3D 360-degree camera display. Oh, and the audio is courtesy of a fantastic 14-speaker Mark Levinson music system. The cabin is loaded with equipment, heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, a heated steering. It also gets a brilliant multi-function heads-up display, and would you look at the size of that massive panoramic glass roof. However, the F Sport doesn't get ventilated front or heated rear seats. But racer boys rejoice, it gets a G sensor. Now the H in this car's name denotes that it's a hybrid, which means apart from the petrol motor up front, it also gets a pair of electric motors, one on the front, one in the back. Now the petrol motor is a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder unit, and the combined output of the electric and petrol system is approximately 200 horsepower. The petrol engine does a lot of the work to move the NX around and some more. Now this isn't a plug-in hybrid, but it is a strong hybrid, which means the electric motors power the wheels with the petrol motor charging the batteries as and when required. Now the batteries can also regenerate when you're braking, and technically you can drive this car in all electric mode, but that only lasts for a few kilometers before the batteries deplete. The NX gets an eCVT transmission. It's a bit complicated to explain, but basically it's a conventional gearbox which, with some electronic trickery, manages the smoothness of a regular CVT. Put your foot hard down though, and the gearbox does take a little time to kick down, so overtakes need to be planned a little in advance. Gear shifts can be pretty prompt when using the steering mounted paddles, but keep in mind the NX weighs almost 1.9 tons, which is a lot. However, with the hybrid drivetrain, fuel efficiency and emissions are quite impressive, and it's the drive modes that help make the NX green or red. You do get 4 driving modes on offer, which can be toggled through using this dial on the center dashboard. In normal mode, well, it's normal, the car is pretty much doing what it's supposed to. However, turn the dial to the left and put the car in eco mode, which will basically optimize your throttle and your steering and your gearbox for the best efficiency possible. However, if you feel like getting a bit feisty, switch it into Sport or Sport Plus and the car stiffens up. It's got adaptive variable dampers, so the suspension becomes firmer, the steering becomes firmer, and the throttle response is significantly improved, and so is the shift speed. And guess which mode I'm driving it in all the time. To compensate for its heavy weight, the NX is set up fairly stiff. Now when you drive on bad roads, the bumps do translate inside the cabin. However, the car never feels unsettled over any of them. Now the NX isn't a true SUV, but it is a pakka crossover. So no 4-wheel drive, but it does get all-wheel drive, and that does work a little differently than expected. Under normal conditions, drive is sent to the front wheels, and you'll find the car in that configuration for most of your driving. However, as and when the car senses that the rear wheels need traction, the electric motor at the back kicks in, making it an all-wheel drive. And the system is quite intelligent. It can really sense when you actually need that extra traction, or if you need a boost in speed when you put your foot on the throttle. So if you're accelerating quickly, taking off from the line, or if you're climbing up a steep slope, or if you're on a loose surface, that's when the rear motor are powering the rear wheels. It's a smooth and refined drive, alright, but there's one area where the NX does lose out a little bit, and that's space. Now there's enough space in the back for at least 2 adults fairly comfortably. Got plenty of knee room even though the driver's seat is set to my driving position. But the issue is headroom, and I'm not very tall, and even if I move the seat all the way back, it's still kinda rubbing against the roof. Open the power tailgate and you'll notice that the boot doesn't have too much space either. And that's thanks to a full-size alloy spare wheel located under the boot floor. Thankfully though, to free up some more space, the rear seats on the luxury trim can be folded down electrically. Now the Lexus NX300h goes on sale in January next year with prices expected at around 60 lakh rupees. Now that would make it a little bit pricey as compared to its immediate rivals, and it does lose out in certain areas, especially in terms of space. So it'll be interesting to see how it fares against the likes of the BMW X3 and the new Audi Q5, which is also due sometime next year. However, I can say with surety that it looks like and makes a statement like nothing else on the road. If you choose to put your money down on one, you might feel cramped but not shortchanged.